Coming up today on Zestology, I am recording this live from Harley Street, getting an incredible anti-aging BBL, that is broadband light therapy treatment, on my face. This is anti-aging and cutting edge. It's not just cosmetic, it is genuinely rejuvenating the actual genes in your body, in your face, and the genetic code in your cells. It's amazing. I'm going to explain everything now. Hi, I'm Tony. I'm an author, presenter at Sky Sports, and years ago I went to the jungle and got ill. Very ill. So this is my podcast adventure to find more energy. It's packed with biohacking, science, health tech, supplements, and some of the most well-known experts on the planet.
This is something I spent 4 months of my life doing with electrodes glued to my head so that you can do a lifetime worth of meditation.
Decide what you don't give a fuck about, which is something you don't care about.
Some of it gets quite out there.
I had some stem cells sent up to my house that I had stored, and then I injected myself with mannitol.
And we even hack hangovers.
Alcohol is poisonous. So is water and oxygen in the wrong dosage.
So that's my podcast, Zestology. Live life with energy, vitality, and motivation. Hello again, so hope you're well. Thank you for listening to the podcast all about energy, vitality and motivation. Obviously we talk mindset and biohacking on this podcast, and anti-aging and longevity is something that has come up again and again, and that is why I'm very happy to be presenting you this podcast live from Harley Street. In a few moments time you will hear me in Dr. Meg Minasian's consulting room in Harley Street, and I went yesterday to get a treatment using photothermal energy, and we recorded the whole podcast before I had the treatment, during the treatment, which is quite interesting, and afterwards as well. So this is a treatment using photothermal energy to gently heal and heat your skin, targeting cells to improve the appearance of your face. That's basically what is going on. But the science and research behind this treatment is incredible. I mean, if you're someone who, I know a lot of people who listen to this podcast are vain enough to think that Botox could be quite an interesting idea, but they also know that they listen to Zestology and they would like to keep it natural. Well, a Stanford University study showed that BBL treatment reverts skin cells to a younger state and more effective function by rejuvenating the actual genes and genetic code in the cells. That is so incredible. That's what I've had yesterday. And you need to listen on to the end of the podcast for my post-session verdict. So what these changes can do is turning back time and reversing years of aging and sun damage as well. I don't even want to give you a spoiler for now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to transport you now straight over to Dr. Meg Minasian's treatment room. And how this podcast will sound is you'll hear us talking about what's going to come up. And firstly, Dr. Meg sort of explains what's going on. Then you'll hear the treatment take place. And for reasons of brevity, I have edited this bit. So me and my podcast editor, Steve, have sort of taken what was actually about an hour or about 50 minutes. And I was sort of, because I had these stickers over my eyes, so I couldn't see anything. So I obviously couldn't switch the mic on and off while I was doing the recording. So I just kept it on the whole time while we were recording. So you don't want to hear me sat there for ages. I mean, it wasn't that long, but you know, there was a bit of setup and we were chit-chatting about other stuff. So for reasons of brevity, that bit will move quite fast through the middle, and then you'll hear us talking after the treatment, and then I will come back and give you my verdict. So today, turning back time, live from Harley Street, experiencing the magic of BBL, broadband light therapy, with Dr. Meg Minasian. Let's record. Meg, we're recording.
Great.
No preamble. We've already tried to open the fridge door to make sure it's got the sound of a consultant's room here, hasn't it? So what's going to happen? I'm very excited.
Okay, so you're here today for BBL, which we already said before is broadband light. This is the most advanced and sophisticated system for IPL, which is known as intense pulse light. So what we're going to do with the machine is target various aspects of your skin. So it's great for anti-aging, it's great for brown spots, it's great for red spots. And we're going to use multiple different wavelengths, different filters of light to target different chromophores.
Oh my goodness. I feel like my skin is crying. I mean, you must have seen my skin when I came in and thought, well, he's got a few moles, he's got a few sort of blemishes.
I've been eyeing them up.
Yeah. Have you?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of feel like I'm doing all right on the skin front, but I've always been quite self-conscious of the moles and the sort of the darker spots that come with age.
Yeah.
And this podcast is all about, firstly, sort of natural solutions to things like aging.
Yeah.
But also anti-aging. So, yeah.
Well, you're in the right place, and we've got the right machine here for that, because it's really good for those coloured blemishes that we see as we get older. And as you said, as soon as you see sunlight, you turn brown and you get the brown spots. And some people are just really prone to that because of their skin type. And this machine can address those brown spots, but it also has really lovely, deeper infrared rejuvenating wavelengths that will help with things like collagen loss, pore size, texture, fine lines and wrinkles. So we're going to sort of treat you globally in that respect, and when we're doing the treatment, I'll be able to talk you through what wavelengths we're using and what the targets are at the time. This machine is great because it's a particularly high energy and very precisely targeted light instrument.
And just remind me what it's called again, this machine?
So it's broadband light.
Broadband light.
Yeah. And this means that we can deliver really high levels of light energy, but very precisely to the targets that we're going after. So for the browns, those are typically quite superficial in the skin, and we'd use a wavelength of 515 nanometers, and we're targeting melanin in the superficial epidermis.
And you literally, with that light, the brown comes out, the melanin comes out.
What happens, what the machine does, as I said, it's light energy. It will get absorbed by the melanin, and it heats up the melanin. So what we're doing is creating controlled thermal injury to the melanin pigment. And then what will happen over the next few days after the treatment, your own macrophages, your own immune system will clear that damaged melanin, and it will come to the surface of your skin, and it will look like fine freckles or a fine graze. We call it microcrusting. And then it will just...
I saw that expression on your website.
It's probably not the most attractive. Yeah, it's not the most sort of appealing description. But when you experience it, you'll understand why we call it microcrusting. Yeah. And then, so that's why in a few days' time, you'll notice these areas improving. So actually, after the treatment, some of the pigment will look a bit darker. And tomorrow when you wake up, you will have what feels like more freckles and more pigment to the surface of your skin. And that's how we know we've done the right thing with the machine, and that we're drawing out the pigment trapped inside those skin cells, bringing it to the surface, and then being cleared by your own natural skin turnover.
Wow. That's incredible. Valerie, how so many questions. How is this only just being discovered so recently?
Well, that's a great question. And the answer is it's not recent. So this form of technology, light treatment, phototherapy, intense pulse light, or IPL, has been around for around 4 decades, more than 40 years. And people are probably most familiar with it in the realm of hair removal. So in that scenario, the pigment inside hair is the target, that absorbs the heat energy. The follicle is destroyed and then cleared over the shedding cycle in the next few weeks. So this is the exact same technology, but it's been finessed. It's much more sophisticated. And most importantly, with the BBL system, the broadband light system, there are 2 real critical sort of differences. One is that the energy is at a much higher level, but it's much more precisely targeted to the specific chromophore target. And the second is that it comes with a very advanced integral cooling system, because you can imagine you're heating something up with lots of light energy, it'd be very easy to burn somebody or blister their skin. And that was unfortunately one of the downsides of the old IPL systems, is that you could only put very limited amounts of energy into the skin without creating these adverse events. So with the Cyton BBL, this new machine, we've kind of managed to advance through all of those issues. So you can deliver a safe treatment comfortably without the heat and snappiness of the old IPL systems. You're only putting the energy where you want it, and you're getting a much better result because you put more energy in. So it's a more efficient system.
When you started saying microcrusting, I was thinking, when you said burning, I was like, oh dear. So I'm very reassured. How does it cool it, by the way?
So it's got an integral sapphire crystal, and we can take the temperature down to 0 degrees, and it's built into the handpiece.
Yeah.
So you're cooling the skin at the time of delivery, whereas the old IPL systems, they were separate. Typically, you have a sort of a hose, which is driven by a fan, where you have to hold that over the skin to try to cool the skin down while you're using the IPL system. So they were separated. So this is an integral system. So what the light that's being delivered is through sapphire crystal, as is the cooling mechanism.
All right. Well, I'm almost ready to go. I know you've got some calls of things you need to tell me. I've got one more question.
Yeah.
Does it hurt?
So no, it'll feel a little bit warm. I don't think you have any breakouts. When we're doing surface treatments for things like acne, people who get breakouts, we're using our most superficial wavelengths then. And we spoke about blue light and how effective that is in clearing bacteria. And so that can feel a little bit snuffy, a little bit like an elastic band snapping on the surface of the skin. But even with that, I wouldn't say it's really painful. It's just a little bit of discomfort. But as we go through the treatment, I'll talk you through. And if we're treating a localized area of pigment, which is going to pull in a bit more energy, it might feel a little bit snappier or hot in that moment. Yeah. But I'll be checking in with you. And typically I'll ask you to say if 0 is no pain, 10 is a lot of pain. This shouldn't be anything more than around a 4 or 5 in terms of a little bit of snappy heat, let's say. So, but we'll be tailoring it according to your response.
Great. We're going to record it and take some videos while we go. And is there any important information I need to know beforehand?
I think it's really just what we said before. And so no active tanning for 7 days before, no active tanning for 7 days afterwards, and really, really strict SPF after the treatment. So when you leave today, I'll have put SPF on your face, and then you need to use that religiously for the next 7 days. The only other thing I think we touched on is that we don't want you doing anything which is going to raise the temperature of your skin in the next 24 hours. So we're going to put a lot of light, energy and heat into your skin, and we're doing it in a controlled manner, as I described. So we wouldn't want you working out. We wouldn't want you going to sit in a hot sauna or having a really hot, steamy bath, because all of those things are things that would raise the temperature of your skin, and then you could get an adverse event. Yeah. So that's the only other things to think about.
Okay, I'm going to a bar down the road from here tonight called Six's Cricket. You have dinner and then you go and you like hit some balls.
I think you'll be all right.
So I will try not to work up too much of a head of steam when I'm like really going for it. All right, well I'm ready. I think. So I'm slightly apprehensive but very excited.
I'll walk you through it.
Interrupting this podcast for one moment to let you know about my podcast partner, and today it is BiOptimizers. Summer or any holiday season is such a delightful time, isn't it? But it's not summer anymore. The vacation season is winding down, and it is time to get back on track with our health. And if you've struggled to return to your health routine, I have what I think is a valuable lesson to share, and that is focus on the big stuff. So healthy eating, exercise, and the thing that works more than anything else. And we've seen it time again on this podcast. Ultimately, you can have all the fancy biohacks and supplements in the world, but if you've had only 5 hours sleep instead of 7 hours sleep, it's not going to work. Sleep is so important, and drinking more than 2 servings of alcohol, for example, per day for men, and more than 1 serving per day for women can decrease sleep quality by 39.2%. That's according to the Sleep Foundation. And one of the things you can do to help with your sleep is take good supplements like Magnesium Breakthrough. So taking a supplement to help with your sleep. Magnesium Breakthrough contains all 7 forms of magnesium designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. And the sleep benefits are truly remarkable. Once your sleep is optimized, you'll find it much easier to tackle all the other major aspects of your health. You can visit magbreakthrough.com/zestology and enter the code Zestology10 for 10% off any order. That is only available at magbreakthrough.com/zestology. And in fact, I've just been to look at that page and there are some deals which are better than 10% on there as well if you buy more than one bottle at once. You can use the Zestology10 code in the UK on the BiOptimizers site as well. That is bioptimizers.co.uk, and whisper it quietly, that code will work on any BiOptimizers product. They even have another product called Sleep Breakthrough. So it's all about sleep this month as we get back into our routine. magbreakthrough.com/zestology. Enter the code Zestology10 for 10% off any order. Now, back to the show.
We're starting with a low energy level.
Okay.
Because I just want to see what you can tolerate.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to literally just do, this is what it feels like on your skin. Feels a bit cold. And I'm going to just deliver one shot like that, just so that you can understand what it feels like.
Okay.
So, How did that feel?
Yeah,
feel a little bit snappy and a little bit
snappy.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if 0 is no discomfort and 10 is really uncomfortable, what number would you give that?
I'd say it was a 2.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to do a few and then see if it's still a 2.
Yeah.
And then we may be able to just push it up a little bit.
Okay.
All right,
Cool.
so we'll do 3 and then we'll see how you're finding it.
Good idea.
I'm going to swap you over to the 560 wavelength, which is specifically looking for reds in the skin. And you said that you do have a little bit of red excitable.
Yeah, I do, yeah. Why does that occur, that redness?
It's just slightly overactive sebaceous glands.
Right.
Do you have eczema? Do you have anything like that?
No, not really. Sort of very sensitive skin. It'll always react to anything, but
Okay.
But funnily enough, I think it's worse when I use a sort of a facial scrub. It seems to get worse.
Yeah. Well, scrubs are really bad news for your skin.
Are they?
Yeah.
I thought I was doing myself.
Oh, right. No, definitely not. I mean, we haven't talked about your skincare routine.
Oh dear.
Give you advice on that. So head in the middle again.
My skincare regime is fairly non-existent.
Cleaning your skin is really important.
Is it?
Yeah, daily. And the best sort of exfoliant is just to use a soft flannel.
Okay.
But anything that's grainy or scratchy will literally just be traumatizing, micro-traumatizing your skin.
No wonder it looks more red when I use that
a
stuff.
chemical exfoliant rather than a physical exfoliant. So like a toner, something like a salicylic acid or an AHA or beta hydroxy alpha hydroxy acid. The acid sounds really scary, but it's not. It's a really gentle, controlled way to exfoliate your skin, and it also helps stabilize your sebaceous glands, actually. So it's particularly good if you do get a little bit of red here around the nose.
Right. I feel like that's the sort of thing. My wife is going to listen to this podcast, I guarantee you, and Faith is going to say, I told you that already, don't use that scrub.
I'm sure she's telling you that already, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're just going to do a red pass and see how you find it.
Okay. Right, so we've moved now.
We've moved now.
Moved lights. This is for the redness.
So
All right.
the target now, or the chromophore, is red blood cells.
Yeah, that's still okay, yeah.
Great.
That felt quite nice.
Did it? Good.
Yeah.
And they're just nice and warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. So turn your head the other way. I'm going to do the same this side. The treatments we've just delivered were the machine in what we call hero mode.
Yeah.
And that's a great way. Hero is an acronym for high energy rapid output. So it means we can deliver a lot of energy to the skin, but in a very, very precise way. So just to those browns and those few reds without warming up the skin too much or making you uncomfortable. So now we're going to what they call the correct mode, which doesn't sound so nice.
Correct.
But it's basically there when you're talking about specific targets. So because of the brown, we talked about the browns are the figures that you don't like. we're going after these with a little bit more targeted energy.
You're correcting mode now.
Yeah, correcting those. So we'll start out here. We're just going to be moving it back and forth like this.
Yeah.
The light in a second. And they will start to feel hot quite quickly, and you just say too hot.
Okay.
Okay.
Too hot.
Good. Well done.
It's like psychedelics.
It's like what?
It's like psychedelics.
Psychedelics.
Honestly, it's crazy in the eye, isn't it? It is. Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
It's the same again here.
Don't need to take mushrooms. Just do this. So I'm going to ask you again for the podcast, Meg.
Yeah.
If 1 is hardcore and 10 is total worst, based on the clients you've seen worldwide.
Yeah. I think you're a 5.
I think you think I'm actually a little bit higher than a 5, but you're very kind, and I'll take that.
You've done really well.
We've now finished the treatment, and I don't know quite how well people would have been able to hear while the machine was on, but you've given me, could you just recap what the different light wavelengths were that you get?
Of course. So we started with 515 nanometers.
Yeah.
Which was the most superficial wavelength that we used, and that was to target your brown spots, which are superficial in the epidermis. And the target for that is melanin. That's what the 515 wavelength sees.
Yeah.
Then we moved on to the 560 nanometer wavelength so that we could target the reds in your skin. So 560 is absorbed by red blood cells. Hemoglobin is the pigment that absorbs that wavelength. We were just mainly focusing on these areas around down the sides of your nose on one little red spot on your nose, but you don't really have a problem with dilated blood vessels. You've actually got really nice skin. It's just you've just prone to the pigmented brown spots, I think, and that's really. So we were mainly focusing on 550, but yeah. So we did a bit of 560, and then we moved on to 590, which is the rejuvenating wavelength. So that sees water in your dermis, and that creates thermal injury in the dermis and stimulates your dermis and your fibroblasts to produce new collagen. And that is the anti-aging, rejuvenating wavelength, which is great for fine lines, wrinkles, laxity, hydration. So all of the anti-aging. And that was it.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's a very odd sensation. I'm looking forward to the big reveal.
So going to take your eye.
I'm aware.
Hopefully not going to remove all of your eyebrow as we do that. And you did smell, we caught a couple of hairs on your beard while we were doing the treatment.
Yeah.
Which has its own unique smell, barbecued hair. So I'm sorry, this will probably end up being the worst part of the treatment, but you might disagree.
And I'm aware now that because how my skin feels now is it feels like it would be quite red.
Yeah, you're not too red, actually. I mean, mildly so, because we didn't push the treatment too far. I think you've got some mild redness, little bit of swelling, which is all because we put all this. I'm sorry, this is your eyebrow now.
That's all right.
So actually, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when it probably feels redder. We're going to put a bit of cooling spray on your face and put the SPF.
I'm going to take a picture of myself.
You're not too red, are you?
No, not at all. No. No, it's weird because it feels, like it would be really red.
Yeah, but can you see you've darkened up already? Your browns are more dark, they're a bit more diffuse.
Yeah. That sort of slightly stinging sensation.
Yeah.
Will that go down?
A nice cooling spray. Just really nice. It's got arnica, amino acids, lavender. It's really sort of cooling and soothing. So I'm going to put some of that on your face.
Lovely. So the SPF is really important.
Super important. I mean, that is sort of non-negotiable now. You must cover up because we've made your skin effectively more sensitive to burning now.
Yeah.
By activating and putting that energy, light energy, and activating your melanocytes. So that's really important. And the temperature thing is really important as well. So if you're exerting yourself too much with your cricket, you're going to have to sit out.
Oh, God, don't let me sit out the cricket.
No, it's fine.
It's just don't sweat.
Fine, but just don't get hot and sweaty doing it. Yeah, that is really important.
Yeah.
It's in 24 hours, so but it is kind of important now in this post.
Well, it is actually quite a sweaty thing, I think. Well, I don't think so. I don't want it's it's in a bar, isn't it? Like, I don't think it's too bad.
So hopefully that feels a bit better, a bit less sort of tight and stingy.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to put the SPF on. Yeah, that's worked so nicely. I'm super happy.
Oh, great.
Really nice darkening, which is exactly what we wanted. We just got some very mild redness throughout your skin, but not too much. So I think it's going to be really nice. So I don't predict a huge number of microcrusts tomorrow because I don't think we've pushed it too far.
Yeah.
But I would definitely expect you to have some.
And you're putting SPF on, are you?
Yeah, this is SPF.
And then I want to do a follow-up for my listeners.
Yes.
What days should I sort of report back?
Yeah, so you can maybe do one tomorrow morning when you wake up. So there are a few things that you can wake up with tomorrow. Occasionally some people have a little bit of swelling around the eye area when they've been lying flat overnight, especially if you're having a few drinks tonight.
Oh,
in an absolutely ideal world, you won't get completely plastered tonight after this treatment.
I'm such a lightweight, I can't even imagine.
Well, alcohol vasodilates your skin, so that will also bring a bit of heat to your skin.
Okay.
So you probably will have some swelling here tomorrow. Okay. So don't panic in the morning if you look a bit puffy.
All right.
That will be completely expected after the treatment.
Sure.
So you could check in tomorrow morning and say, are you puffy? Are there how many microcrusts, or what areas have you got the microcrusts in? That's perfect. We didn't go anywhere else here, so I'm going to put the SPF. And then just see over the next few days, maybe day 4, maybe day 6. It depends a bit how quickly you clear, how would your skin cell turnover is. Then maybe day 3 or day 4.
And then a sort of...
And then I think a week's
a week,
time, and then definitely 6 weeks later, because that's when you start to notice, collagen change. It'd be really interesting to see what other people say about your skin, if they notice the difference.
Yeah.
So how does it, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I can see it sort of brought out some dark patches, doesn't it?
How much darker you are now. Because if we've not darkened you up, then we haven't heated up.
Yeah, there's some nice dark patches there.
There's a really dark one here, like this one at the side.
Yeah.
Or definitely darker there, and here. Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, so it's weird, isn't it? Because short term, it does the opposite of what it does long term.
Exactly.
Wow, thank you so much, Meg. It's been so much fun as well.
I mean, it's really interesting to meet you.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I know. I'd be interested to hear how you find it all.
Well, I'll stop recording now, but just where can people find you to do this same thing?
So it's the NW Clinic, nwcliniclondon.com, and all the details are on the website about making appointments and information about all the treatments we offer.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes as well. Thank you, Meg.
And we're on Instagram as well.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'll tag you.
Okay, so now it's the next day and I'm back at home. And do you know what? I'm buzzing after that experience. Yeah, I probably was a bit nervous. And we've got some videos. If you have a look at my Instagram, which is @TonyWrighton, you'll see some videos of me getting it done and before and after pictures. But I was a little bit apprehensive because I haven't really done anything like that before. But I'm into anti-aging and longevity, and I'm into trying some pretty extreme stuff, as you know. And this was just such a great experience. And I felt absolutely fine afterwards. Slept great. This morning, my skin is not puffy, but exactly what Dr. Meg said would happen has happened. And that is the melanin in the moles in my face has come out. So that shows that it's working. So I have I've got quite fair skin, and I've got quite a few sun blemishes, and they are darker this morning, which shows that it's working. I'm putting the UV on religiously. But what I did notice, and this is the reason for recording this the day after, is even straight away when I left, I sort of felt like I could see a beneficial difference. I could see that it had worked. And I think that was the last part of the treatment that Meg did, and that was the infrared bit that sort of plumps it up, gets the collagen going, targeting the water in the cells. I felt straight away like that was seriously good and seriously beneficial. I'm a massive convert. It's incredible to think that you have these sun damages, and I've always been someone with a lot of moles and blemishes on my face and all over my body. To think that you can reverse that, and to think that this Stanford University study, this rigorously performed study, showed that it reverts these skin cells to a younger state and more effective function by rejuvenating the actual genes. It's changing the gene expression. That is so incredible. So yeah, feeling good. What I'm going to do now is carry on applying my SPF, and this podcast was recorded before I moved countries to Portugal. So what's going to happen is very shortly on my feed you'll see a little update, and I will record it live on the scene. And this is the last podcast recorded from the UK, and you will get my update, my sort of 1 month, 6 week on update, and my considered verdict on this. I'm really impressed though. Do hit up Dr. Meg for this totally natural and properly cutting edge treatment. You can find her at mwcliniclondon.com. And honestly, I felt like I was she is so highly qualified. She's been working firstly as a doctor for years and years, and then as a surgeon for years and years, performing extremely technical operations. She really knows her stuff, and I felt in extremely safe hands. And I also thought she was excellent company, and I just really enjoyed the experience. So it's mwcliniclondon.com, and mention me and Zestology if you go. You can also find her on Instagram, which is the MW Clinic London. And I guess if you want to ask me anything about it in a few weeks, find out how I'm feeling about it, then send me a message through the website tonywrighton.com. That is it for today's podcast. What a great experience. I love recording these live on the scene when I go and get things done. It makes it so much fun. Today's podcast partner is Magnesium Breakthrough, and this is a chance for your body's rejuvenation and repair process to continue with sleep, because it's not just fancy procedures like I've had on today's podcast. It's the basics that we want to get right, and this is a really affordable way to help with the basics. I do recommend you take magnesium daily. Not just any supplement. You do want something like Magnesium Breakthrough by BiOptimizers, and it does help with sleep. So it contains all 7 forms of magnesium designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. And BiOptimizers have loads of supplements, not just Magnesium Breakthrough, but Sleep Breakthrough as well, which is one of their newest one, which is out at the moment. If you go to megbreakthrough.com/zestology, enter the code zestology10, you'll get 10% off any order. And that is at megbreakthrough.com/zestology. If you go to the BiOptimizers site in the UK or the US, you will get 10% off every product that they sell. And they're one of the top supplement companies in the world with the code Zestology10. So it actually just doesn't work for Magnesium Breakthrough. It works for everything. But that is the podcast partner for this month, Magnesium Breakthrough. Thank you for supporting my podcast partners, which helps to keep the lights on at Zestology. megbreakthrough.com/Zestology. That's it. Look out on the podcast feed for a little update. A sort of 1 month, 6 week on update on how I feel after this procedure and after this amazing experience. And I will let you know then what I think. But for now, I'm impressed, and I'm pretty sure I will want to do it again. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.